Good evening, everybody. Meteorologist Ricky Matthews here. We're going on Facebook to bring you some information about a flash flood warning that's been issued and show you some of the pictures that we're getting from Johnson City. Now, this is our camera located at the Town View in JC. And of course, this area is very prone to flooding. However, that doesn't mean it's not noteworthy when it happens. We're looking towards the east. Let me type out this and get it going on Twitter here too. We're looking towards the east, which will be putting you at the intersection of, let me pull up Google Maps and tell you exactly where this is. So there's Johnson City. We're down here. There's King Commons Park. That's going to be the intersection. Looks like that's over near King Street and Montgomery Street and kind of towards Market Street, where you're seeing some of that heavy rainfall there that has led to the flooding. I'm going to move our camera around and show you a couple of different spots here. That's, of course, looking down there, and see that guy wisely deciding he doesn't want to drive through there while some other people are still trying it. We'll take you back to our typical shot you see here from our Town View camera, and there's King Commons Park down there, and you can see doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and that is catch a lot of the rainfall as it goes through Johnson City to alleviate some of the flooding further up the road and in other areas that typically used to flood before. So here is where the water is running down the road. You can see it flowing through there as our camera kind of comes into focus maybe. There you go. You can see the water flowing down that road there. That is very close to King Commons Park. And I'm going to try to zoom us back out again and show you a couple other spots here. As we spin the camera further right, we'll see what other roads we can pick off here. There is where the drainage ditch comes through. And there you can see the heavy rainfall coming down and some of the water as well running down the roadway there. And of course, our camera being coated in rain in addition to that. So let me show you the radar and show you what we've got going on here. This is a thunderstorm that I was talking about earlier on News 5 at 6 that has popped up and basically has just dumped a bunch of heavy rainfall across parts of Johnson City and also across parts of Washington County, Tennessee. There's the radar, and you can see the heavy downpours here basically right along the interstate corridor, basically from Gray all the way south into Johnson City. Here's the I-26, I-81 split. So if you're heading down 26, you're having a bad day right now as all this heavy rainfall falls. So basically the Gray exit, Boones Creek exit, Johnson City, Rome Street, North State of Franklin, all those areas seeing heavy downpours with this storm. Has kind of just popped up and is sitting over this spot and not moving a whole lot. That's the recipe for flash flooding, especially after we saw a day or two yesterday with the amount of heavy rainfall in a few spots as well. So there's flash flood warning in effect for that entire area here due to all that heavy rainfall that we have falling across the area. I'll pop on where the flash flood warning polygon is for here and I'll show you how far this goes to. It's basically straight down the I-26 and I-81 corridor. This flash flood warning is going to go until 9:45 tonight and includes a large part of the area there from Boones Creek into JC and Gray. I want to pop up some of our other cameras and see what we can see here. Here's North State of Franklin Road in Johnson City. You can see the heavy downpours there, but our Town View camera is certainly doing the best job of showing us where those areas of heavy rainfall and flooding are ongoing in Johnson City. These are areas where we typically see impacts from flooding. I've seen this area flood numerous times in my about 5 years now here. And of course, Johnson City very prone to flooding overall when it comes to heavy rainfall and the issues that come with that. We can spin our camera a little bit further towards the right. I'm not sure if we're going to pick up anything through here. I'm looking to get over, yeah, that's kind of where I'm trying to zoom into. That is going to be, let me get my bearings on the maps here again. So there's King Commons Park. That's going to be over towards Carver's Park you're looking at there. And it's a little hard to see due to all the rainfall that's coming down, but I believe, it's really hard to tell in the camera shot, but I want to say that right there is water where you're seeing kind of the little bit of lighter colors in between the trees where the water has come out of the creek that runs very close to Carver's Park and has caused some flooding issues through there. Of course, flash flooding, one of the most dangerous things we deal with around here because, one, people try to drive through it, and that's not a good idea because flooding ends up killing a lot of people each year when they drive their cars through the floodwaters. And it doesn't take much water to move your car. It doesn't take much water to sweep your car away. Now, while the water in downtown Johnson City is probably not very deep, it is fast moving through some of these areas, and that is causing some issues if someone decides to try to walk in it or, you know, kind of try to cross the road where there's water down there. You can run into issues where they can be swept off their feet and then swept down into some of the drainage ditches, and as a result, we don't have a good story to tell after that. So areas near Johnson City, anywhere along the I-26 corridor, if you're in any of those areas that typically see flooding due to heavy rainfall, you're likely going to see some flooding here over the next little bit. I want to zoom back into this intersection here, and I want to get an exact location of this intersection. So this is going to be, here's King Commons Park, there's Johnson State Library. That looks like Montgomery Street there and King Street. And so there's some of the water there in Johnson City as a result of that heavy rainfall that's coming down. So we'll take you back out again. Let me pop up the camera actually. Sorry, I forgot to pop it up there for you. We're doing everything on the fly here. So there's the camera again, and there's the road I was talking about with some of the water on it. That is actually probably Boone and Market Street I'm looking at there. So the intersection of Boone and Market Street is where I believe that camera is facing. Right, forgot to pop it up there for you. And a lot of people asking, well, I wish those people would drive through the water. And, you know, they're probably going to make it in many cases, but here's the thing. Your car is not going to be happy if the water gets up in the engine there, and you're going to have a bigger headache on your hands than perhaps being a couple of minutes late getting home. Anyway, I digress. We'll zoom back out here and show you King Commons Park once again, and the rainfall that has filled up the creeks and streams around King Commons Park. I want to pop the radar back up for you guys here too to show you what we've got not just in Johnson City but kind of in the overall area. So a lot of people asking about parts of Southwest Virginia, areas, you know, elsewhere in our region, and for the most part we are not seeing a whole lot of storm activity across much of Southwest Virginia. We got one shower here in northern portions of Scott County, but that's in stream portions of Wise County as well. But for the most part, the majority of the heavier rain is further south. I'll step off and I'll move the camera down towards the south here, and you'll see there's where all the heavy rain is. And kind of noting something with the latest radar presentation, the northern side of this has now started to weaken just a little bit. So we're likely going to see a little bit of a decrease in the amount of heavy rain from the I-81, I-26 area through Gray and Colonial Heights. But as we go towards Johnson City, still seeing the large area of red here. Now, there's another product we can look at. It's called differential reflectivity. And it's going to look a little weird, but bear with me and I'll try to explain it to you what we're looking at here. I'll turn off the lightning. And these are areas where the radar is depicting different types of sizes of raindrops. Why is that important? Because as a storm grows and then decreases, the raindrops move in different directions. Updrafts carry rain up in the storm. Downdrafts, of course, carry it downward. So what we're looking at here is for areas where there's bright red colors. Those are updrafts where there's different sorting of raindrop sizes ongoing, indicating to me that this area of the storm is kind of growing up a little bit. That area I just talked about through here, Grays, Boone Creek into Colonial Heights, where the rainfall was not as heavy anymore. Notice how you don't see a whole lot of red through there. Well, that's because we're not seeing a lot of upward vertical motion anymore in that area to keep the storm sustained up in the atmosphere. But down here near Jonesboro, southwest of Johnson City, north of Unicoi, and even south of Unicoi, we're seeing those areas of red where we're continuing to see the storm kind of growing up in size, which in this atmosphere means more heavy rainfall potential. So those are the areas now that we'll kind of have to watch a little bit more. Kind of this circled area down here, as I draw a little circle for you, for more heavy rainfall over the next hour or so before the storm kind of totally collapses and dies off. Lightning too, some heavy downpours and lightning associated with this as the storm pushes through the area. I'll turn on the rainfall estimates. Here's the 1 hour rainfall estimates from the National Weather Service, and you can see some of the rainfall estimates getting up to around 2 inches in spots, almost near 2.5 inches near and south of Johnson City, and that's why that flash flooding is ongoing in those areas. So big heads up there if you're in those areas, if you're in an area where there's a potential for heavy rain and runoff flooding. A lot of times when we get setups like this, you guys are going to be the ones that see the impacts here over the next little bit. I'm going to go through a few more of our Johnson City cameras. Buffalo Mountain probably is not going to be the best shot right now. It's probably clouded in. There is Roan Street in Johnson City, and you notice not a whole lot of impacts there. It's really kind of just the downtown area seeing the impacts. Let's pop up our North State of Franklin area camera once again. There's the rain still falling there, but I want to take you back into downtown towards the Townview camera location, and there once again is our camera located near King Commons Park, which was designed by the city of Johnson City to be kind of a runoff flooding area. So this area flooding is not as big of a deal as areas to the east flooding, where we have it impacting some roads and impacting sometimes even getting into a few businesses down here. So I'll turn it back towards the right and show you that spot. There's First Presbyterian Church. There's Market Street. You can still see the bands of rain coming down there on Market Street. So the good news about flash flooding is that it happens quickly and it subsides quickly. Of course, not great if you're in an area where you're being impacted by it because it can come up on you rather quickly. But for the most part, this water should not be around for much longer after the heavy rainfall subsides within the next hour in Johnson City. But just classic summertime setup with too much rain in a short amount of time causing flash flooding across the area. We'll continue to monitor this here through the next little bit. If anything else pops up, we get any additional flash flood warnings. There's a cop driving through that water, and here comes a budget truck trying to drive through it as well. We will bring you updates on that. There goes a fire truck. Decent indication how deep the water is there. So not incredibly deep, but I imagine it's a little deeper as you get closer to this camera, because it looks like that's kind of the northern side of that area of runoff compared to the southern side there. So luckily Market Street's a little higher sitting than some of the other streets towards Boone Street as you get closer to the camera. But either way, not a great idea to drive through the water in the first place. So we'll keep you updated on that through the next little bit, and if we get any more updates or warnings, we'll bring them to you on Facebook and of course on air and online. Hope you have a great evening and a dry evening across the area.